Hello, Fleet Ready fam, and welcome to Fleet Ready Gaming. My name is Sivad, and I'm your host today as we discuss the post Inside Star Citizen Alpha 319 video that came out today, January 26, 2023. Today we're going to be joined by fellow org member Xiren, who has gladly given us some of his time to talk over some of the changes that are coming, as well as we're going to go over some speculation of what else the patch could be. So, let's go ahead and switch over to the collab panel. Hey, Zarin, how's it going, man?
Just fine,
All right, good to hear. Give me just 1 second. I need to quickly make sure that you're coming through
Kinda
here.
looks like you're having some video capture issues.
Yeah, this software is a little bit different than what I'm used to, and I'm still getting the hang of it. All right. So, Inside Star Citizen. Today's episode was very interesting. I mean, I kind of got late to the party. I know that they released the video much earlier today than they usually did. Um, Overall, what were your thoughts and opinions on it?
I was paying definite attention to the fact that there was a lot of things that were shown that looked like they were already in deep progress of being done. I'm gonna just say I'm getting some severe reverb for some reason.
Okay, give me 1 second to take a look and see what's causing that.
Sorry.
No, it's no problem. Um, okay. All right, there we go. Go ahead and
All
try.
right, that sounds a little better.
Yes, there we go. All right.
Anyways, I was gonna say that I was noticing some fixing my camera too.
Yep, yep. Do what you
That
need to
there
do.
was some severe, some. Jeez. Okay, that's a lot of junk here. Okay, there. That's a little bit better.
Yes.
I was noticing there were a lot of things that were being worked on in the current Loreville rework, as well as the settlement reworks
Hmm.
that were things that had shown up earlier in far earlier things. Um, Space Tomato kind of mentioned it in his coverage of it that the bar thing that we saw
Hmm.
reminded him of something that appeared in either an ISC or something that appeared in 2018. And here it is almost 5 years later, we're getting a village set up like that, and it's very interesting.
It is very interesting, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because same here. I had noticed that asset, realizing that somewhere in the past we have seen it before, and I know they've shown it a few times over last year and whatnot, but that memory goes quite far back. So hearing you say that and bringing that up, absolutely, it's fascinating to see these assets that they've had in hand for so long and finally getting to see them being fully used.
Right. It's it's been a complete 180 from things that we've seen in recent years. I mean, in the last, I would say, generally 18 months,
Hmm.
we've seen a very real uptick in quality of content released by the content teams. And it's not too fair an assumption that some of this stuff will be in the PU sooner than we think.
Oh, absolutely.
That shanty town that they showed off looked very complete.
Yes, it
I
did.
don't think that was a work in progress item. I think that was a blueprint.
Hmm.
Maybe not an actual item for it. And they keep bringing up 4.0. I really think that we're going to make it to 4.0 PTU by the end of the year, but I think we're only going to have two major patches this year. I
Honestly,
think we're only going to have 318 and a 318X patch, followed by 319.
honestly, I don't doubt that one bit. You know, with how, this last year went being stuck on the 317 branch, in terms of a major branch update, yeah, I think we're going to be on 318 and 319 for some time. Um,
317 technically was
oops, sorry about
five
that.
patches. 317 was technically 5.5
Yeah,
patches.
that was a lot.
You had 317, 317X, 317 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 patches
Yeah,
that were 317. A lot of people forget that.
yeah, it was a lot. It absolutely was a lot. You know, um, Continuing with what you were saying about these shanty towns, I think you're absolutely right with that. What we saw was essentially a blueprint, and even the devs themselves said, they plan on scattering these across planets and moons, and you know, even showed us blueprints and concept art of what they envision these to be. And
One
I,
thing that felt out of, sorry,
it's
it's in
okay.
the same line, but one thing that felt very out of place was them showing that brief shot of the normal outpost in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Either that was a very obviously placed red herring, or that's their next target.
I wouldn't
They're
doubt
going to
that.
make real landing zones out of these places like ArcCorp 141
Mm-hmm.
and other places because, yeah,
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, why not combine the infrastructure you already have in game on top of what you have also been creating? The fact that they have these landing pads that we can call small ships and vehicles on, can rearm, repair, and refuel at a couple of them. Why not fully integrate that more and flesh that out more? Absolutely.
exactly.
Um,
I was kind of puzzled by the addition of the, like I said, that didn't feel like a red herring,
mhm.
felt more like a subtle hint.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then during, okay, the bar thing,
Hmm.
it also brought up the Lorville shanty towns, or what do they call the slums, for the outer parts of the cities.
Hmm.
They haven't talked about those in a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
About 8 years. And here we are, starting to see things like that. It's not a big stretch to say that what we're looking at is starting to lean into major additions to landing zones.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, the shantytown editions are great, but when they start adding to actual landing zones and places that players frequent all the time,
Hmm.
and they don't have to get into a spaceship and complete a mission,
Yeah.
and they don't have to get into a land vehicle and do a mission. They can literally stay in the city hub
Yeah.
and do missions. That's when this game starts to feel more like a modern RPG or JRPG.
Yes, definitely.
Because then okay, a good game example would be the Xenoblade series.
Hmm.
You have quests that aren't just out in the field of wherever you're at, Bionis, whatever,
Hmm.
but you also have quests in the towns in there. A lot of very prominent RPGs do that. It's not too big of an assumption that CIG is leaning in this direction thanks to the folks from Turbulent.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, one of their goals and things that they've stated for many a years now is, that if you so wanted to, you could choose to stay in one place alone and play out your whole game experience there and never have to leave. And you can make a living and have fun and and live your citizen life. Um, you know, Hearing that really makes me excited for the idea of towns versus cities. And, with CitizenCon from, 2021, when we had the 400i mission, them going down to the planet of Pyro. Believe it is
Yeah,
a Pyro 2?
Power of Three.
3, okay. Um, and having them, show us that settlement there that looked lived in, that looked like it had a whole, you know, commerce and what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Economy.
economy, and like there's a story to tell there, that there's something that could be done there, that, like you said, and the fact that they can then build stories and missions and gameplay around locations versus an entire planet or a sector of space, it gives more personality to the planet that you're playing on. But yeah,
Right.
it's very exciting stuff. And then on top of it, kind of going into some of the other things that what 319 may bring. Um, According to the roadmap, bounty hunting V2 is almost done. On top of it, hacking is almost done. We have all of these really much more advanced systems starting to show up, more fleshed out, I should say, um, that will allow for, within tandem of towns and settlements and whatnot, a very Wild West feeling. Instead of, bounty hunting missions that, oh, I disabled a player's ship in space, and, poof, they're already in jail because they're dead. Now they'll be, oh, they've, crash landed, or they're a part of this town and this is their residence, residential hideout. I'm going to go in and try to take them, and then a shootout happens, and depending on their reputation and what system they're in, because, as with 4.0 coming out, like, here soon, TM, um, you know, we'll start to see reputation play into effect. Players that have a high reputation with a specific faction, even if they're a criminal, may get support from the locals in defending themselves against a bounty hunter, or even vice versa. If they may help him try to apprehend the criminal if violence ensues. And hearing these emergent gameplay opportunities is part of just that big dream that we've all been wanting to start happening, and we're starting to see that slowly flow in. Anyways, that's the dream I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. One thing though we haven't touched on is, well, you were starting to, and then we got sidetracked.
Mm.
The halves. Did you
Hmm.
notice that player logging off on the surface of the moon?
I did not. I'll have to rewatch and take a look.
In that video, there was a player logging off, or probably a CIG person
Hmm.
logging off in that shantytown um, hat
Yeah.
and doing the traditional, kick back,
Oh yeah.
relax, and log out. That's very interesting.
Yes, it is. That would be so convenient if
And
that's the
that
case.
heavily that heavily implies that we're going to be getting many landing zones
Yeah.
in a way that's very different from what we've been getting. I mean, yeah, it's cool and whatever, but I wonder if some of these future settlements will have hangars. Um, they won't just be like little spit and get
Hmm.
places, but they'll be actual towns.
I have.
Official
Oh yeah,
settlements.
absolutely. I have a
It
feeling
says
we're going to
in the
see that.
lore, like Loreville is one of many factory towns
Hmm.
on Hurston. So it's not too big of an understatement to assume there will be several settlements like Loreville on Hurston. That's the only major city, and it doesn't make any sense
Oh yeah, yeah,
for the size.
absolutely. And as as we've seen the networking tech improve over these last couple years, and we've seen them start to bring in these derelict, settlement sites. I definitely can see full-fledged mini towns that are like mini Hurstons or sorry, mini Lorevilles and, mini New Babbages and things like that be propped up all across the planets and even moons. It's definitely going to be fascinating to see the what's the word?
Hmm.
I'm just trying to think of, you know, I guess the opportunities, that this will present them. Because even in ISC today, they went on to talk about building interiors and the opportunities that that will bring to the game here soon. And the idea of being able to go into a building and have a gameplay area depending on how from the range of that they want to push it. If it's a big building, you could have a lot of content in there. Just thinking of Siege of Orison and what they're planning to do when the event is not going on, and how they are planning to allow you know more of those buildings be accessible during missions and whatnot, and seeing how missions, and especially chain missions, kind of like the Tessa Bannister missions that
Oh
unfortunately
my gosh, I miss those
I do
missions.
I do too. You know, seeing things like that, especially once we get these mission heroes again back into the game, allowing us to do these much more epic quest lines. I feel that hopefully with 4.0 coming, that we will start seeing more of that type of content.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Now, going back to the Loreville rework, what has been, especially with what you've seen today, but on top of what, they talked about during CitizenCon, what, what's been the most, what's piqued your interest the most? What are you most looking forward to with the rework?
They mentioned something I hadn't heard of in a long time, like the backdoor entrances and
Hmm.
such during the course of the stream. Also, did you notice what looked like a polluted ocean
Yes, I
near
did.
Lorville?
Yes, that was interesting.
Very. Tomato didn't mention it, but I did. I noticed it almost immediately
Same here.
that there was a kind of a what do you call it? A polluted coast.
Yeah.
That's the biome.
Yes.
Polluted coast. And I haven't seen that talked about in a long, long time.
I'm curious, I'm curious with pollution, especially just with how, you know, if the water will have any elemental effects on ship and armor, and equipment. And also, with the stream today when they showed that there were some giant pipes, coming in, going into the water where obviously they're dumping pollutants and sewage. But I'm curious if they would ever make those into back doors for criminals to get into cities, going up through the
Not that they want to do it, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because gives it kind of the reverse Klesher feeling where you're breaking into a city. Um, let's see. So we talked about the shanties, talked about Lorville. One thing I found interesting with the derelict settlements, I'm surprised they didn't really talk much more about what potential derelict ships that they're working on. They pretty much stated that, the next update for derelicts is going to be these shanty towns, which is definitely exciting to hear. But what ship would you enjoy to see next if they were to take the time to make it into a derelict site or for missions?
Well, they saw. What did we see in the derelicts? We saw the Freelancer.
The
We saw the
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar, the Reclaimer, the Mercury Star Runner, and the 600i.
Yes.
Well, we know there's already one pre-existing capital ship
hmm
wreck site on Daymar,
Yep.
which is USS Fleece, UEES Fleisa. It is a javelin wreck, and a lot of people forget about that
Yeah.
very, very large wreck.
Absolutely. I
I
mean,
think I think the reason why they're not going to input that in the game right now is because of Squadron 42. Sadly,
hmm
we won't be seeing a wreck site of a capital ship minus a what would be a ship minus the 890 jump.
hmm
Yuck. Maybe the Carrack, which is
Yeah.
a subcap.
Yeah.
Hammerhead. The Hammerhead I could definitely see. The Redeemer, which would be kind of a little small,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it'd have to be added to another wreck. Like they did with the 600i and the Star Runner, they're too small on their own.
hmm
Just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. That's odd. Yeah, it's just weird. Hang on just a second.
Yeah. No problem.
I don't know what's going on.
The 890 would be a fantastic wreck site to be able to explore and do missions in. After having the Reclaimer wreck site, 890 would definitely be a fun one. I could see it taking them some time, for CIG to properly do. But with how many of the 890 missions get generated over Microtech and Hurston, I would expect to definitely see some there at some point.
I know it's ridiculous.
Um,
I mean, it should be there by now already.
yeah,
It's kind of goofy.
it is. It is. It's a lot of ships that they have to go through, and
The
but
890's one. Let's see. The 400i, another
hmm
one.
yeah, definitely.
And when the X1 comes out, they you could have like the bay of the 400i,
hmm
like where the 100 where the X where the X1 comes out,
hmm
you could literally leave that as like a mini hangar bay on a
hmm
cliffside and deploy your escape ship like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, some of the wrecks that I don't think will happen easily are vehicles smaller than the Cyclone.
Yeah, yeah,
The Cyclone wrecks we might find, but hover quads, Noxes, They're going to be very rare.
Yeah, I could see that as well, especially, they would probably be more like wrecks for salvagers versus for missions and things like that for sure. Grab the
Maybe.
component or, once physicalized inventory happens, maybe grab something from the inventory compartment type missions.
Maybe an abandoned racetrack. I can imagine this kind of scenario, like an abandoned racetrack. Okay, say it's an abandoned
Hmm.
grandstands racetrack. Uh, can what do you call it? Goal stations, all that. It's been abandoned for years, and the reason it was abandoned was because of a terrorist attack on the field
Yeah,
that blew up all the racers on the starting line. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
And they left it as is. The area is quarantined, or not quarantined. Wait. We have something like that historically. What happened to Mr. Dunlow?
Hmm.
The terrorist bombing at the station in where is it? What station was that? It was a planet. It was in Croshaw on Angeal. In Angeal, yeah.
Yeah.
That actually did happen historically, so it wouldn't be out of the question with a lot of people. You wouldn't want to make your motivations known.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can imagine some disgruntled racers who feel like they've been wronged by the racing committee
Hmm.
attacking a prominent
Oh,
race,
yeah.
and the racetrack is destroyed. All subsequent tournaments are abandoned. The area was rumored to be off limits, but nobody ever goes there except to leave like memorials and
Hmm.
stuff for the fallen. But the area has become too dangerous due to people squatting in the buildings and stuff. And say the mission is given by an old man who wants to pay his respects to his long deceased racing buddy, and he's military, so he
Hmm.
gives you marching orders to go in there and clean out the ruffians so he can pay his respects.
Yeah, definitely. I could that sounds like a really fun, straightforward story mission that has a good beginning, middle, and end, and you know, with all the different types of locations that can be found in Star Citizen, so many different types of story-based missions can easily be crafted around it, and I really hope CIG takes the time to really give the community the opportunity to play something like that. With the new investigation missions that they showcased during CitizenCon, you know, even playing within that part for the type of mission that you just described, clearing out the ruffians, finding out some information about who the people that attacked were, maybe there was a mole that was there that got killed in part of the initial part of the attack, and he just happened to be in the wrong place, wrong time, and it leads you on a whole nother chain of the mission you could follow and end up doing. There's
Right.
there's a lot of opportunities that CIG could take that could really make this something even more. um,
Indeed.
yeah, it's exciting stuff, it really is.
It does make you wonder, though.
Mm,
I mean, okay, the coastal, they showed a bunch of stuff that they claim is modular.
mm, mhm.
I'm super wondering if we're going to get like shoot I'm wondering if we're going to get places that are, you know, you can only get in if you have certain accreditation.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I thought this is the whole hover quad thing.
Mm-hmm.
The hover quad, I've thought this for a while, was introduced because it has no weapons, because it's purely a civilian vehicle. But then it dawned on me there are going to be some places you have to go with no vehicular weapons.
Yeah.
I think it has a shield and that's it.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning that before in a previous. I wasn't sure if it was in Discord or on your stream on Twitch, but absolutely. You know, I really do hope CIG makes it to where the law and reputation systems will, even if there is no armistice zones anymore, will ban people from bringing heavy equipment and weapons in, and will take action if there is such an issue that comes up. If you don't have the permits or don't have the buddy buddiness with the right people, you shouldn't be able to carry in those heavy weapons. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Um, I had a side topic that was related to this, but I can't remember what it was. Um,
Breathe, you'll figure it out.
oh yeah, absolutely. On a slightly different note, talking about the modularity that they were mentioning for the settlements. I kind of want to bring in a speculation topic with you and pick your brain on it, on what your thoughts are, about in the most recent monthly report that came out a couple days ago. There was talks about a ship that was a production
Oh,
ship,
yeah, right.
and
Ship modularity.
yes, ship modularity as well for these settlements and things, and then on top of it, the completion of the rastar tool or restar tool, uh,
Rastar, yes.
yes, which will be the tools that one day we have in order to build our own bases and whatnot. What are your speculations and thoughts that base building might be coming sooner than later?
I think it might actually be accurate or truthful
Mm-hmm.
because we, one of the biggest rumors I've heard for a while down the pike is that there might be a very real chance base building. Well, think about this: the Pioneer is the largest base building ship.
Mm-hmm.
Every profession has different sizes of ship that are quote unquote role oriented.
Yeah.
The Terrapin, for example, is a small medium explorer. The Corsair is a medium large. The Carrack,
Yeah.
large subcapital. Well, no, large explorer, right?
Yes.
And then you get to the exploratory capital ship, which would be, I believe, the whatever it is, the MISC something or another. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Odyssey.
The Odyssey, yes. Even though I don't like this ship,
Mm-hmm.
but okay, we recently met the small refinery ship,
Yeah.
the Expanse.
Yep.
That ship might be out for Pyro. Watch that space. Why? The Orion won't be ready.
Yeah.
The Expanse might be.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do with those refined goods in Pyro? Why not put them into a small manufacturing ship or a medium? A couple of people I've talked to think that there are going to be a small, medium, and large manufacturing ship in between or before the capital class Pioneer. The small will still have the capabilities to build habitation parts, albeit fragments of parts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the room I'm in is a 10 by 12
Mm-hmm.
standard room. This is a 10 by 12 room and an 8-foot ceiling. This is technically, if we look at it as a box,
Mm-hmm.
we have 6 slabs. The only complicated part is the door.
Yeah.
If we want to simplify it like that. Now, one thing I've thought with the Pioneer is it might be good at building big parts, but for delicate, small parts, a smaller ship with a smaller refinery and builder, fabricator might be necessary. This ship, that'll be in the size, say, of a Cutlass, I call it the Trailblazer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's terrible, but it makes sense. Trailblazer would obviously be probably a $180 war-bond ship. Similar design philosophy, maybe to the Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
See how the Pioneer kind of has hovering
Yeah.
to it too?
Yeah.
That the Pioneer's going to get a redesign.
Oh yeah,
I hate to
definitely.
tell people this. It's going to get redesigned. But at the same time, I believe we're going to see a larger version of the Nomad that's going to be utilized as a fabricator. That back end
Mm-hmm.
area looks like it could offload stuff coming from inside of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's also interesting, you had brought up a little bit ago with the whole fabrication part, it'll be interesting to see as well if by production ship they didn't mean with bases, but meant possibly with crafting, with the Vulture being able to craft, the multi-tool, they may be just trying to throw us off a little bit, and that it could be regarding that.
Notice they said the Vulture, that is only they said, in, I quote the words they use, that is a temporary feature on
Mhm.
those ships.
Yeah.
Meaning that fabrication works
Yeah.
already.
Yes.
We are probably closer. Oh my God, land claims again. No, no, that nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wonder though, will the Pioneer's little brother come with land claims? Probably not. You
Probably.
might have to pay the extra money for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting because especially since they only did the land claims for a very short time, and now the only way to get them is with the Pioneer purchase.
Honestly, I heard this from Paul's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why they won't do land claims right now is that the UEE is the only one that recognizes those
Mm-hmm.
land claims.
Yeah.
Meaning we only have one UEE system.
Yeah.
So we will require more. Nyx and Pyro are not UEE systems. Pyro's not, Nyx is not. Excuse me. Odin is, but it's
Yeah.
classified.
Yeah.
What is not is Terra, Magnus. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Let me double check here. On the system list, you can still see me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
No, you bring up
Just making sure.
while you look up those, you bring up some very good points. If they had kept on selling through it, and when they finally did bring it in, there would be hardly any space left for Stanton if a million plus people went running to try to grab land.
Right.
And especially if our buildings and bases are supposed to persist across all servers, maybe not interactable or whatnot, but they're still supposed to be there.
Right. For example, Pyro, which probably would have been a UEE system, is connected to Hadrian, Terra, also, which is a non-UEE system that's developing, Cano, Stanton, Nix, and Castra. Of those, the only systems that will probably have land claim ability will be the following: Hadrian, which, even though it has 3 gas giants, the information on the system is very, very out of date.
Hmm.
And there's a very high likelihood the 3 planets there will have moons,
Yeah,
like Daymar is of Crusader. So that's still there.
yeah,
Cano is highly unlikely. Well, Cano's Cartiena is unlikely, but Cano 1 might be, though I don't think you want to be on a hot planet. Castra, maybe,
hmm,
because you have Cascom, which is on Castra 2,
hmm,
and you have Castra 1 or Bullseye. But those are the only 2 planets in that system. But remember, these are early days for systems.
yeah,
And then off the next spur of these systems, you have Virgil, which is Vandul, so that ain't happening. You have Odin, which is a UE military system. You have Bremen, which is where Silas Kerner lives, Mr. Elon Musk's Star Citizen. This system will probably have the first that you can get land claims in for a while. Either Bremen 2 or 3.
yeah.
I think they might sell some limited land claims to the Bremen system.
It definitely will.
Castra, I doubt, because it's military. As for Toe Hill, I don't know. Toe Hill, I wouldn't want to live on a water world. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If there's some islands on there, then maybe, but you know, I could see people trying to get vacation plots there to build, some nice getaways. But
We're
yeah,
probably going to be waiting a while
yeah,
until we get at least 2 systems, two
yeah.
or three systems that are UE before we get land claims again.
Yes, definitely. And then on top of it, a bunch of unclaimed system or lawless systems to allow those who don't have the land claims to just be able to build wherever they want.
I think that we have one system that's classified as sovereign, which means it's its own little mini empire,
Hmm.
which means it does not recognize the UE.
That would
I
be
was
definitely be
surprised to
interesting.
learn that. It's a very rare exception.
Yes.
I mean, I can't remember the system name, but the Good Doctor takes place in the system, and then that cult ousted the UEE, and they continue to be a thorn, keeping them out. I think eventually we might be sent as players to settle the score.
Be interesting, especially what potential storytelling that they could give with missions there, whether if they would be hostile to potential citizens who may work for the UEE and,
They're
those.
very the way they describe them is that they are very authoritarian and
Mm-hmm.
they're very aggressive toward outsiders.
Definitely. Well, that will make for very interesting content and stories for sure. Um, I had one last topic I wanted to cover before we ended the stream here. Um, oh,
Mm-hmm.
goodness. I'm just having brain fog today.
One thing I wanted to finish before you were
Mhm.
talking about modularity.
Yes.
A lot of people forget that's coming.
Yeah.
Tractor beams are almost done, and a ton of ships use tractor beams.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, especially, as CIG, now that the first portion of the cargo refactor has been implemented with 318, hopefully we'll start seeing these larger and larger cargo containers start being introduced that will not only open the economy more, but also allow for so much more stuff. I mean, even aside from the cargo containers, yes, like you said, tractor beams open up a whole list of different gameplay opportunities. Rescuing down ships that aren't fully soft deathed or even are soft deathed and can potentially be repaired and rebuilt. To just if you're down and out and you have components that are busted and you can't fly it, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to add a lot to the game. It really is. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm drawing a blank on what I was going to say for my last topic of the night, but we're already approaching getting close to 50 minutes here, so why don't we go ahead and wrap up the stream for the night?
Sure.
But we'll definitely have to do this again. Uh, thank you so much, Siren, for taking time out of your day to come join us here. Had a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do it again, and let me know, if on your channel, if you ever want to chat, I'm always down. We'll try to set some time aside and would be more than glad to help out with that.
That'd definitely be nice. Don't forget we have Star Citizen Live tomorrow.
Oh yeah, definitely going to be exciting to watch that. Be interesting to see what they say, how it's going over the PTU and 318. So I'm sure they're going to be talking about how it's been an iterative process of getting patches out and kinking out those bugs. But for those watching or who come later to watch, just want to let you know I put Xiren's channel information down in the description. Please, go check him out. Subscribe to his channel. He mainly streams on Twitch, so you can find his information there as well. Um, yeah, I mean, do you have any closing remarks or anything you want to add?
Just that I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I hope to see you over here on Twitch.
Absolutely. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be trying to start doing like a co-stream thing, trying to get the Twitch channel going while also focusing on the YouTube channel here as well. So look forward to that in the coming weeks. And yeah, I guess that will do it for tonight. Thank you again so much, Siren. And
No problem.
yeah, we'll see you next time, guys. Peace.
Later.